Okay, folks, welcome to my first flight here on the PilotEdge network. I've actually done a lot of flights on PilotEdge, but this is my first recorded YouTube video using PilotEdge and just doing a very short flight from my home airport of El Monte to a nearby airport, which is Chino. Chino is actually where I got my my private pilot license in real life. And then since then, I've been flying at El Monte. I got my instrument, my commercial, and both my flight instructor ratings, my CFI and CFII here at El Monte. And so that is my home airport. Anyways, just wanted to do a quick flight on PilotEdge. Just wanted to test out, OBS and PilotEdge and sort of show people what a typical flight with air traffic control might look like. So here we go. I actually have a couple of screens set up, which is cool. I have my main screen, which is what you guys are seeing right now. And in addition to that, I have a screen with that just shows all my avionics. Which you can see right now, and my iPad, which is currently running Foreflight. So figured, why not just show you guys a whole bunch of little things. You can see I've got Foreflight here running on my iPad on the right-hand side of your screen, and then on the left-hand side there are actually two screens which are showing the avionics that I have configured for this aircraft. And for this particular aircraft, I have two Garmin G5 units. The top one that's configured as a PFD, a primary flight display, and the bottom one that's configured as an HSI, a horizontal situation indicator. And on the bottom screen, I've got a Garmin GTN 750 that's running with the Reality XP GTN 750 system and just a simple Bendix King nav comm radio. I kind of thought about having two GTN 750s, but for whatever reason, it just didn't feel right. I mean, most aircraft that I fly, they invariably have a GNS 430 or a 530. The GTN 750 is kind of a nice touch. Anyways, I kind of got all this configured. Let's kind of switch back to the main screen now, and then we'll get the aircraft started. We'll taxi it. We'll connect to PilotEdge. We'll have some fun. Just a really short flight. So let's see how this goes. All right, cool. So I've got my aircraft here, and as you can see, just a typical Cessna 172. This is the stock Cessna 172 that comes in as part of X-Plane. I've also got it connected to the PilotEdge network, or I'm going to. So let's just go ahead and connect to PilotEdge. In case you don't know, PilotEdge is a really cool service that gives you live ATC for flight simulation. So let's go connect to PilotEdge.
Connected to PilotEdge.
Okay, so there we go. We're connected. I'm going to basically start my engines. I actually have a really nice setup with the honeycomb controls alpha yoke and the honeycomb controls Bravo throttle quadrant. Obviously, I'm not going to be able to show you guys all of those controls. So instead, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to focus on the screen here, the main flight sim screen, and we'll take a look at some of the controls as I'm switching on and off certain things. All right, so let's get started. Let's get the battery switch on first, and let's get the beacon on. And you can see the beacon switch right here actually switched on when I turned on the switch. And so let me try that again. So let's get the beacon off and the beacon on. Okay, so we got the tail beacon on. We've got we've got the battery master switched on. Now I'm gonna give it full mixture. Just crack the throttle open a little bit. In a normal aircraft, you'd probably prime it a few times, but in this case, we're really not going to prime it. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to just get the engine going. Okay, engine started. We get our magnetos, our switch here on the left to both. We're looking quickly at oil pressure, which seems to be in the green right here, if you notice. Oil pressure is in the green, and so let's now get the alternator going. And so we're going to look, when we get the alternator going, we look at the ammeter, and the ammeter is showing, just at least showing 0, which is kind of cool, which is the right way for us to look at. And then we'll get the battery master going, and that fires up all of the avionics in the airplane. Okay, so we're kind of getting that running now. While we're doing that, I'm going to just make sure that all the avionics is initialized here on the other screen. You guys can't see that right now, and that's okay. So let's keep the RPM kind of low. So we're keeping it at about 700. Seems pretty okay. I'm going to just lean a little bit. We don't want to be sitting here with the engine just cranking away and really not lean at all. And you can notice the RPM's kind of taking a dive there, so we'll keep it lean about halfway on the mixture control. Okay, now I'm going to just switch back to the view that I really like. Because I actually have my own avionics suite on a separate screen, I don't use the avionics in the aircraft that much. Alright, so now we're connected to PilotEdge. Let's get the weather. I've connected, and so I'm going to show you on COM 2 down here. As you can see, I've got 118.75 set up, which is the ATIS code for, or the ATIS frequency for the El Monte Airport. So let's go ahead and get the ATIS. And while we're doing that, let's write up the ATIS as we're going in. Let's take some notes, right? We need the ATIS anyway, so we will write it. It's at KEMT, and let's go.
5 Zulu. Wind 250 between 240 and 300 at 8. Visibility 10. 5,000 scattered. Temperature 17. Dew point 7. Altimeter 3004. Arriving and departing runway 19er. Visual approaches in use. Read back all runway estimates and hold short instructions. Advise on initial contact. You have information, Oscar. El Monte Airport, ATIS information, Oscar. 0145 Zulu. Wind 250 between 240 and 30.
Okay, so we got ATIS information, Oscar. Winds are between 250 240 at 8. Visibility is 10 statute miles, which is great. Pretty good day actually. Scattered clouds at 5,000. We're not even going to go that high, so this is awesome. Temperature dew point spread is pretty good. Altimeter is currently reading 3004, so let's go ahead and set the altimeter to 3004, which actually matches roughly the field elevation of El Monte, around 300 feet. So awesome, that worked out great. I'm now going to just put in a simple flight plan. Now, if this were a real aircraft, what I'd probably do is, I'd go up to the run-up area and I'm going to just, set up the flight plan there. Since I'm not going to be, since I'm not flying in real life, I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time doing a run-up. So let's go to flight plan. We're basically going to go, let's look at our map, right? So I want to go from El Monte. Let's clear this. So I want to go from El Monte to Chino, and that looks good. You can see my route here on, so look, if you look on the right hand of the screen, and you can see Foreflight there. The only weird thing is it kind of cuts a little close to the, to the Ontario class Delta, and which is right here from the ground to 5,000. So we might want to think about that. I tend to kind of, the folks at PilotEdge, they'll route me sort of around doing a left downwind for runway 26 left, but we'll figure it out, right? I mean, for now, let's just leave it at this. This looks good. We've got our aircraft positioned here at El Monte, and so let's kill the flight plan window. Out here, let's put in a flight plan to Chino. By the way, in real life, if you haven't used a GTN 750, I honestly think you should. It's an awesome little, it's an awesome GPS device. Touchscreen, makes life very easy for us. All right, and we're going to basically set the COM. We're going to set the COM to the El Monte tower frequency, and let's set the main to 125.5 107.9, which is the El Monte ground frequency, and we'll put that in. So now we have our comm set up, and we're good. Okay, that being said, what else do I want to do? Today, I'm going to fly with no flight following. So I'm just going to take off, make a left downwind.
John Wayne, clear delivery, November 2363 Kilo, IFR to Palomar.
So I'm just going to basically fly direct to Chino, so, you know, keep it easy.
2363 Kilo, downwind clearance, to Palomar Airport, fly heading 175, radar vector is Victor 23, then is filed. Climb and maintain 5,000, departure frequency 128.1, squawk 1311.
Fly heading clear to Palomar, fly heading 175 vectors to Victor 23, maintain 5,000, departure frequency 128.1 and squawk 1311, November 2363 Kilo.
Number 2363 Kilo, read back correct.
Okay, so that's cool. Now let's do one thing while we wait for someone else to talk on the phone. And you could hear now how realistic PilotEdge is. There's actual live ATC. There's a human being who's reading out, requesting a clearance. Someone read out a clearance. It's awesome. Now, before we take off, just let's be a little ahead of the airplane. I'm gonna set the COM2 to 125.85, which is the Chino ADIS frequency. So let's go ahead and put that in. And we'll make that the primary because, you know, we got to receive the ADIS before we land at Chino. So here we go. I've made that the primary on COM2. For ADIS, I've got ground for El Monte and the tower for El Monte set up here in the boxes.
For 210 Whiskey, contact departure.
Departure 0 Whiskey, good day.
And now let's switch back to our main view and let's go try and fly this thing to Chino. All right. And, you know, as we go along and probably narrate a few things, I might switch views, just kind of showing you guys what's going on.
210 Whiskey, leveling 5,000, heading 175.
Number 2102 Whiskey, so call departure, radar contact, climb maintain 7,000, join Victor 25, resume mode navigation.
Climb maintain 7,000, join Victor 25, 0 Whiskey.
El Monte Ground, Skyhawk 285 Charlie Romeo at the North Transient Parking. Request taxi for takeoff with information Oscar.
Number 285 Charlie Romeo, El Monte Ground, runway 1, enter taxi via Alpha Bravo, say direction of departure.
19er via Alpha Bravo. We will be departing to the west, to the east, heading to Chino. Okay, so we have our taxi clearance. Let's start taxiing out. You know, I'm just using X-Plane. You could see
John Wayne Ground, November 2363 Kilo, GA parking, with Lima, ready to taxi for departure.
Number 2363 Kilo, John Wayne Ground, safe position on the airport.
GA parking area.
Number 63 Kilo, that's the entire airport. You'll need to be more specific.
Okay, I'm trying to keep my aircraft on the center line. This is so much harder.
Number 2363 Kilo, it's either be the west side or the east side is really all I need to know.
This is the west side at Juliet.
2363 Kilo, thank you, runway 20 right at Kilo, taxi via Bravo.
20 right at taxi via Bravo Kilo, November 2363 Kilo.
And like I said, you know, it's a lot harder in the flight sim to actually keep things going. The real aircraft isn't as squirrely as the flight sim ones are. But whatever, right? I mean, I'm waiting on my medical to come through after some major surgery. And so while I wait for my medical, flight sim's pretty much all I got. So here we go. You know, just keep going.
For 4710 Foxtrot contact, SoCal approach 134.9er.
134.9 and 10 Foxtrot.
So I have a tendency to over rev in the flight sim, as you notice. I was going a little faster, just cut that down. I'm trying to minimize braking.
King Air 4710 Foxtrot, 9500.
4710 Foxtrot, so California, approach Los Angeles, altimeter 3006.
3006, 10 Foxtrot.
Okay, and like I said, today I'm not going to do a run-up or anything like that. One of these days I'll actually do a little video where I do a full run-up in the run-up area, but you know, I'm just going to essentially get to the runway and get started. But here's what I'm going to do. As I head to the runway, I'm going to get all my strobes and everything on so that I'm set up. So I have my lights, my transponder is basically on standby, so let me start squawking altitude reporting, which is what I need to do for my flight. So we got our transponder squawking altitude. And how do I know that? I'm actually doing it on that second screen, which you guys can't see right now. Anyways, I got my lights on. I've got everything else. I want my mixture full rich, which I just did. I'm gonna hold short of the runway now as we come here and call up tower and get my takeoff clearance. Okay. And now, while I'm on tower, I'm actually also gonna get the Chino. I'm also gonna get the Chino tower put in here in the standby, so that I have that for the future. And the Chino tower is 118.5. So let's get that in here. 8.5. Okay. So we got that as standby, so we're a little ahead of the plane, which is what we really want. Okay. El Monte Tower, Skyhawk 285 Charlie Romeo, holding shot 19er at Bravo. Request a left crosswind departure.
For 285 Charlie Romeo, Monte Tower, left crosswind departure approved. May 19 clear for takeoff.
19 cleared for takeoff, 285 Charlie Romeo. Okay, so we got our taxi clearance. We're going to head on the runway.
Runway
and, you know, let's keep going. So we're right on this line.
3,900 feet
And that's Foreflight telling me that...
John Wayne Tower, November 2363 Kilo, standing, holding short 20 right at Kilo, ready for departure.
Number 2363 Kilo, John Wayne Tower, runway 20 right at Kilo, clear for takeoff.
20 right at Kilo, clear to takeoff. 63 Kilo.
Okay, so we're on the runway. We got our taxi takeoff clearance. So let's get going. Start giving it a little bit of right rudder because otherwise the aircraft's going to drift to the left. Little bit of right aileron because you can see the wind is coming from the right. And the aircraft's already drifting to the right, so I'm going to ease off on the rudder. My airspeed's coming alive. I'm at 70 knots. Let's take off. Let's pull up the yoke just a bit and let's fly off. Okay, so I'm trying to keep the aircraft kind of wings level at this point. You know, just keeping the trim going. I'm gonna go a little bit to the right here to go over the wash, which is the typical VFR departure procedure here at El Monte, and keep that trim up so that I basically want to climb at about 80 knots, which, as you can see, that's what I'm doing, climbing at about 80 knots. And we'll wait till we cross the 10 freeway, which is a freeway that's kind of right below us. You can see all the cars going through. So we'll do that. And, you know, we're showing about a 600 feet per minute climb. Let's just give it a little more and keep going. So now I'm going to start turning to the left. I've got my GPS that's showing me the way. So, you know, we'll turn to the left and then we'll follow the GPS all the way in towards Chino. So Chino's roughly, you know, it's kind of like east of El Monte. And I'm going to just keep the aircraft at 2,500 feet so that I don't climb too much either. I don't want to. And I want to keep it under the Ontario Class Charlie shelf.
119.6.
19.6, Sir Whiskey.
For 2363 Kilo, contact departure.
Over to departure 63 Kilo.
We're still climbing, you know, give ourselves a little bit of down trim.
SoCal departure, November 2363 Kilo at 1,100, climbing 5,000.
Destination
Number 2363 Kilo, SoCal departure radar contact.
Okay, we're coming up on 2,000 feet. So we'll, you know, at
SoCal approach citation 210 to Whiskey 7000, ATIS India request visual approach runway 24.
Number 210 to Whiskey, SoCal departure, flight present heading is to maintain 3,000 vectors to final.
Present heading to maintain 3,000 vectors to final for 0 to Whiskey.
okay, we're at 2260, 2300, so 200 feet to go for our climb. Let's just climb up a little more. Want to go a little more east, so towards 0. Okay, we're at 2500 there. So I'm gonna push that nose down, reduce the power just a tad, and let's trim down so that we at least have, and let's start going to the right. Now, get to a 090 heading. There. Something like this seems reasonable. Just flying towards Chino. I can see there are clouds here which kind of bother me. So, but you know, if this were real flying, I'd probably be bypassing and dodging all those clouds. It's not real flying.
Number 2363 Kilo, flight heading 090, join Victor 23, resume on navigation.
090, join Victor 23, resume navigation, 63 Kilo.
So let's go a little bit to the left here. You can see the GPS showing me where we're heading. So I've really gained a lot of altitude because I wasn't paying attention to that and fixating on talking to you guys. So I'm gonna get my altitude down, try to get back to that 2500. So let's cut that power a little bit, get the nose down, and let's come down. I really want to come down to
Number 210 Whiskey, Palomar Airport, 2 to 3 o'clock, 7 miles, report in sight.
We've got Palomar Airport in sight, 0 to Whiskey.
Number 210 Whiskey, cleared visual approach runway 24, contact Palomar Tower.
Cleared for the visual 24 over to tower, thanks, 0 to Whiskey.
Okay, we're almost at 2500. That's fine. Let's just come down to 25. We'll give ourselves.
Delta in 4.3 miles.
Yeah. So we'll keep ourselves a little bit to the left of our center line because I don't want to nick the bracket class delta
Palomar
either.
Tower citation 210 to Whiskey, 6 miles to the north, visual 24.
All right. You know, don't want to do too.
Number 210 Whiskey, Palomar Tower, runway 24, clear to land.
Clear to land, runway 24, 0 to Whiskey.
We got some traffic to our left. Let's take a look and see if we can spot him. Yep, you can see that little traffic there just off my left wing. That's okay. You know, we just got it. Let's keep our nose down, just keep flying. I think we're okay. Those guys are 400 feet below us, so as long as we don't descend, we're okay.
Chino ground, Aero 1021, Lima looking for IFR to Ramona.
Number 1021 Lima to Grand Clear to Ramona Airport, fly runway heading redirect to Paradise View, Warranty, Ontario, Papa 13 tech route.
Temperature
Climate maintain 4,000, sequence 7,000, 1 minutes after departure.
3004, arriving departing runway 26 left, 26 right. Visual approaches in use. Read backhaul runway assignment and hold short instruction. Heading advise on initial contact you have information Yankee.
Altitude 4,000, 7,010, frequency 135.4
information Yankee. 153
102 only after Paradise it's the Ontario Papa 1.
Visibility 10. 4,000 scattered. Temperature 16.
Paradise, Ontario,
Dew
Papa
point 7.
13 tech.
Altimeter 3004. Arriving and departing runway 26 left. 26 right. Visual approach in use. Read backhaul runway assignments and hold short instructions. Advise on initial contact you have information Yankee.
Okay, so we kind of got information Yankee at Chino,
Airport
but
8 is information Yankee. 0153 Zulu. Wind 240 at 9er. Visibility 10. 4,000 scattered. Temperature 16. Dew point 7. Altimeter 3004. Arriving and departing runways 26 left, 26 right. Visual approaches in.
okay, so we have information Yankee. We've got the altimeter set correctly. I'm just diverting, as you can tell, a little bit to the right here so that I don't nick the class Delta for our friends at Bracket. And that's really what I'm doing. Now, off in the distance, if you can follow my mouse, I don't know if you can see my mouse, but you can see the beacon light for Chino Airport flashing there, right there. And so that's kind of what we're flying towards now. This is pure visual flying, right? At this point, we're not really doing anything else. All right, so I've got Chino. I'm going to call up their tower before I enter their airspace. Chino Tower, Skyhawk 285 Charlie Romeo, is about 15 miles to the northwest, requesting the option with the Yankee.
Mercury 285 Romeo, Chino Tower, and a right down runway 26 right, report turning base.
Right downwind for 26 right, and we'll report turning base. 285 Charlie Romeo. Okay, so I made that call to Chino Tower. Now I'm good to actually enter their class Delta airspace, and so it's so weird. The moon just popped up in front of us there. But anyways, I'm kind of getting towards Chino. You can see the lights. You can see the freeway in front of me. That's the 71 freeway, which if you fly in this area, you kind of know about. I don't want to climb above 2,500, and Chino's pattern altitude is actually 1,400 feet. So once I get a little closer, I'm actually going to start coming down. And I completely blew the initial call. I was not 15 miles away. It's probably something like 8 or 10 miles away maximum. Anyway, you screw things up sometimes. But they know where I was. I'm squawking altitude. Life is good. All right, so while we're doing that, Chino's ground is 121.6, so let's get that into our standby on the radio. That way we have that and we don't have to deal with that next, right? So we got that. We're going to keep going down this path, heading towards the thing. You could see the Vazi lights for the opposite runway for 08 in front of you. You can now see the beacon pretty much at about my 11:30. So it's kind of right there in the middle of the screen. You can see the beacon going. And so I'm now going to start reducing power, and I'm going to start getting set up to land. So let's start pulling our power back. So we start descending.
He left at the end, off to the ramp. Good night.
Left at the end, taxi center, full to you. Thanks for your help. George Whiskey, good night.
And I want to be at about 1,400 feet when I enter their airspace. It's not going to happen, but I'm going to just reduce power so that I start descending anyway. So let's do that. Get some power in. It's kind of bouncy. You can tell the aircraft's bouncing around a lot, and that's because I've got real weather being downloaded, and it is a little turbulent today. So today is not the best day to be flying. Anyway, it's not too bad, but it's a little bouncy, and the aircraft's showing that. Anyways, we're down at 2,000. I'll probably stay at about 1,500 or 1,600 feet as I head towards Chino. I got to be careful not to nick the class Charlie for Ontario. I got yelled at last time by ATC because of that, but whatever, right? You make mistakes and you're learning. Now, in a real plane, I'd be terrified of doing that, and I'd be extra careful. On PilotEdge, there is realism, but sometimes your brain does override and realize that you are flying a flight sim. Okay, so we're coming up. Chino, we're descending. We're at 1,700 feet-ish now, coming down to 1,600. You can see the altimeter counting down. And then, you know, when I get to about 1600, I'm going to just add some power so that we don't like get too low. That's the last thing you want, is to get too low while you're kind of in approach. And in Chino, there's these little roads that actually parallel the runway. So I'm going to try and keep one of these roads off my nose, so that I don't, you know, I use that to basically fly parallel to the runway. So I'm going to keep giving it a little bit of gas just so that I don't... he wanted me to report turning base, so I'm basically now entering downwind for runway 26 right, which is the short runway, and it's the runway closest to us actually. So let's keep our altitude up, give it some power, and while we are at it, let's get set up for a landing. So I'm going to reduce that power just a bit, get some flaps in, and that nose in X-Plane has this tendency to just rise like crazy. So I'm just going to lower that nose, keep it down, make sure we didn't gain too much altitude. So that helped us slow down now. You notice my airspeed's actually down to about 80. And I am descending a little bit, so let's not do that till we kind of really get to the midpoint of the field. Now you can see the runway on the right hand side right there, you see. You see the runway. I'm kind of paralleling the runway right now. We will we'll kind of go back here. We'll start a descent because we do want to start descending at this point. I don't want too much of a descent, you know. Let's keep it about 500 feet a minute. I'm just going to cut some power.
King Air 4710, Foxtrot information, Oscar 10 miles to the south, full stop.
Don't want to diverge too much from the runway either, so we'll keep it there.
Number 4710 Foxtrot, Fulton Tower, and our left downwind runway 24, report turning base.
Enter left downwind runway 24, report turning base 10 Foxtrot.
Chino Tower, Skyhawk 285 Charlie Romeo, turning right, base for 26 right.
For 285 to the Romeo, runway 26 right, cleared for the option.
26 right, cleared for the option, 285 Charlie Romeo. Okay, so I'm turning base. You can see it's not very easy in X-Plane to kind of see around because I don't have, like, you know, a 3 monitor setup. So we're kind of going to, you know, half-ass this in a little bit, but that's okay. There, got my second notch of flaps in. You can see the parallel
Chino
runway,
ground, Aero
and you can
10
see
Lima at the southeast hangars,
runway
ready to
8.
taxi with Yankee.
So I'm just going to cut power because I came in a little too close. Not the best approach. My landings in the sim are actually quite shitty, but the whole idea for me is just to play around and have some fun. And while I'm doing it, also show you guys what a typical flight might look like, might sound like, based on ATC and all that. So we're kind of coming in at a really bad angle here. In the real world, I probably would have initiated a go around, but anyway, I'm okay. I'm kind of lined up with the runway now. So let's just kind of land this beast, right? So we'll keep that nose up, we'll keep that nose up, keep that nose up. And that was a horrible, horrible landing, but it's okay. So we're going to brake a little, just add some power. Let's get to the nearest taxiway and get off the runway.
King Air 4710 Foxtrot permitted to descend into the Los Alamos hour base class Delta, or have to wait till I'm clear?
Mirror 4710 Foxtrot, transition approved.
Alright, 10 Foxtrot, thank you.
Alright, so I asked for the option so I can actually do a stop and go if I wanted to, but I'm not gonna. I'm just gonna taxi out now. Taxi, and you can follow the yellow line basically to taxi off the runway. So we'll get completely off the runway and then we'll call ground and ask for taxi to the base of the tower. Okay? Yeah. So let's get completely clear of the runway. There we go. A little more there. Okay, that seems about right. Okay, and while we're at it, let's clean up.
2363 Kilo, contact SoCal approach 11.6.
Over to approach 63
So I'm going to get the flaps up. Give it a little bit of power, lean the mixture, switch to ground.
SoCal approach number 2363 Kilo at 5,000 with India and would like to have ILS runway 24.
For 2363 Kilo, SoCal approach, so you can expect that.
Chino ground, Skyhawk 285 Charlie Romeo is off 26 right at Delta. Taxi to the base of tower.
Number 285 Charlie Romeo, taxi parking via Alpha, good night.
Taxi to parking via Alpha 285 Charlie Romeo, good night. Okay, so we've got our taxi clearance now, and we are just going to taxi via Alpha, which is essentially a taxiway that's parallel to the runway. So we'll kind of make this left turn, and then you can see all the aircraft parked there in front of us at the base of the tower. So we're just going to kind of go there and park, and we'll shut down and everything, all the fun stuff from that point forward. Okay, let's just kind of make it here. I'm really bad at taxiing, and I need to keep flying this thing a lot more, but for now, just bear with me, guys. You can see there's a little taxi spot right there. You can see the little T, so we'll kind of line ourselves up with that T.
Chino Tower, Aero 102 Lima, holding short, runway 26 left, ready for departure.
Number 102 Lima, Chino Tower, runway 26 left, clear for takeoff.
Right
Clear
next
for
to
takeoff,
this
26 left, Air 102 Lima.
Diamond Star, I think that's next to me. But yeah, let's just taxi there. Go a little further in. Just keep going. I really, it's weird with X-Plane. Sometimes I do have to give it a lot of gas just to keep going. I would never do this in a real plane, but okay. Just a little more, get the wings over there. That's it. That's good. Okay. I think that's good enough for now. Okay. So here we are. We're stopped. I'm going to disconnect from the PilotEdge network while we're at it. Disconnected. Okay, I'm done, and then let's go through our shutdown sequence. The first thing we're going to do is turn off the batteries. Turn off the avionics. Get the mixture down to idle cutoff. Okay, that's done. Batteries, alternator batteries, all of the lights, and the keys, and we are shut down. And that was it. Fairly simple flight from El Monte to Chino on the PilotEdge network. Thanks a lot, everyone.